Hello everyone, and once again a warm welcome back to the Dr. Balmer channel. This is part 3 in the series on the $12 or so equivalent AliExpress Solar Lantern. Now, um, first of all, sorry for the intro audio being lost in part 2. The video editing software got lost, and it lost the track. And hopefully this will work better. So in this part, we shall do some soldering. I will show you a pretty neat trick for charging up other types of lithium cells that usually maybe don't fit your standard lithium cell charger. So let's say you want to charge LiPo flat pack cell in a standard charger, for instance. Um, and yeah, so we shall have some soldering fun and also inspect the cell in this lantern, because it does seem that it may not be a LiFePO 4. So let's get right into it.
Right, so we're getting somewhere, I think. The question is, what now? Well, as I said, I would like to be able to charge this cell up from its current 2.5 volts or so, and I'm not sure to 100% if this is a LiFePO 4 or if it's just a very drained lithium standard lithium cell below its 2.9 cutoff voltage in that case. But I hope this is a LiFePO 4. I would like to check the capacity once we get up to 3.7 volts at the cutoff for LiFePO 4 and see if it's reasonable to assume that this is indeed a LiFePO 4. Yeah. So basically what I would like to do is I would like to use my for instance my Nightcore UMS4 charger for this purpose and basically charge the cell up. But as you can see, we have some protective sheets here, and also have a connector. So how would I do about that issue? Well, of course I could use my cable lead that I just created, but and then I don't know, fasten it somehow to the positive and negative terminals. But yeah, I was thinking about another idea. We're on the topic of the Nightcore UMS4. Make sure you check out on my channel. I have a review of this and several other lithium chargers. So check it out. This is, as far as I know, still the latest and greatest Nightcore charger, the UMS4. And we can see here on the backside output, so we have the 3.7 volts, which should be for LiFePO 4, and we can check here if it says anything. Yes, IMR, lithium ion, and LiFePO 4 with these sizes, and also nickel hydrides and nickel cadmiums. So this has LiFePO 4 mode. My idea was to well, I got these, and these are some very cheap, readily available AliExpress or other Chinese buying platform of your choice kind of thing. It's basically a dummy AA cell. So you can use it. Let's say you have a 3-volt lithium cell and you have a remote control that takes two 1.5-volt AA cells. If you have a 14500 lithium cell at 3.7 volts or something, you can put one of those in and then the other could be a dummy, for instance. But the other usage scenario here would be to, well, basically use that in the charger. And we have a couple of cutouts near the positive anode and the negative cathode as well. And my idea was therefore to basically create another one of these female connectors, right, with the red and black wires, and having the red anode go to the positive terminal and the black cathode lead go to the negative cathode terminal through these holes or cutouts. And then we could sort of connect this to a connector of the matching female connector with the wires going into this dummy, and then we can put the dummy in the charger. And I don't know what kind of current this will accept. I believe these are just some pretty basic stainless things, but we don't have to charge this fast. 200 milliamps at 3.7 volts, that's not a whole lot of power. So and that will be reusable for future projects. So yeah, and basically just to open it up, it's a simple cheap plastic, and yeah, in this case we have a wire here. It's basically a stainless steel wire that just is soldered to these terminals, and that's pretty much it. But we could remove this wire and solder our own wires to these terminals instead, and then we can charge cells like this up, and even like a lot of AliExpress stuff with integrated cells come with this JST connector. Even like lithium polymer cells, flat packed, and we could charge those with the same sort of adapter cable that we can make like this. So that's the plan now. And join me on this very interesting adventure as we try to unravel the mysteries of the what was it, $12, maybe it was $15 before rebates and coupons, but in the end it was a $12 lantern, solar lantern. Yes, so I shall remove some stuff from my bench, and we can pretty much get to it. So hang on a moment and I will clean some stuff up and prepare for some nice soldering adventures. And I'm back. So cleaned up a little bit at least. We can remove this cell for now. We want, let's see here. So before we remove it, this is the side of the connector which has the little fin at the top, and then we have the red wire at the bottom. So yeah, and I will remove it here so that we don't damage it with some solder. And I don't know, I have a couple of wires, good copper wires, which I mean, something of this length should be adequate, I think. I like this cable stripping tool, even though things get stuck in there from time to time. But that's okay when you like a tool for its other qualities. Also, I want to let's see if we can. Oh, it sits pretty tightly in there. It shouldn't be glued, but let's see if I can. Yeah, it's possible to remove, but it also removed the wire, which is okay. So we can start with the cathode, and I will we might zoom in a little bit actually and refocus perhaps. Yeah, so I will just give this a good sort of, maybe sandpaper is better, but give this stainless surface, which is very shiny, give it sort of a rough texture so that the solder can stick to it a lot better. Fun little projects like these are, according to me, the best ones. You get some quality time soldering and finding some interesting solutions, and hopefully it will work. If it doesn't, then it's sad, but maybe fun anyway. And if it works, it's just a bonus. Okay, so let's place that one there and that one there. Right. Okay, I will turn on my USB powered soldering iron. We can remove some stuff and bring some other stuff in, like this. It's on and warming up, which is what we want. So I will turn on this fume extractor as well, so there will be a bit of a noise now, but I hope we can live with it. Okay, I'll turn that off for a second. So it seems to stick now. So it would be, I have to kind of get it to fit in here. Let's say it's, I have to refocus here on this level. Let's say it would be something like this. Yeah, and then it would exit through that hole. So something like that. So that will be the negative terminal. And then let's try to do the same thing with the positive one. I will try to remove the Oh no. Okay, I didn't get it to stick too well, unfortunately. Maybe I should cut this a bit. Like this, and then let's remove that one again. It doesn't matter, I suppose, which way we put the positive and negative here. It's all pretty symmetrical by nature. So this solder blob, it sits pretty well in place, but I need to get this wire to sit there. I'm thinking that I'm having a bit of trouble because the thermal, I don't have enough thermal mass on this iron here to make it, to reflow all the solder here. But let's give it another try. Nope. I can't really reflow the solder properly. Feels like maybe this will stick. So once it's I need to get a better soldering iron maybe for these kind of purposes. It seems to stick. So let's hope it does. And then let's take the anode here. Remove the wire, and I will try to scuff up the surface here, side. There's a little bit of soldered wire left there. But yeah, something like that. Let's try it. I will use these. Here I only have some rubber sleeving only on one side of the tooths, this alligator clip. So let's go for that and reheat the soldering iron. And see if we can't get this to, yeah, I wanted to put a bit of a blob there. Let's try that and see if it's looking like it's gonna stick. It's still pretty hot, actually. So let me. Yeah, seems fine for now. Okay. Let's move on to this connector. And yes, in this orientation we had the red wire over here and the black there, so let's try to mimic that. Oh, but of course, I forgot the... Sorry, I forgot, of course, the... It's too bad, because it was a nice joint here. Nice solder joint. Sort of. But I forgot the heat shrink tubing. I would like to have one there, so that we don't get any surprises. So, alright. I only have black ones for now, so we'll use the black one on the red one, the red wire as well, and I will have to desolder it, of course.
Something that has to be done.
Using the side here of the soldering iron, I usually do it like this. Tends to get the job done. All right. Well, we have some kind of connector. At least, hopefully, they aren't shorted out. And so let's try to assemble this in some meaningful manner. Let's see here, maybe that can go there, and in that case the black wire with the cathode. So okay, I have to disconnect this. Let's see if we can. Oh. Okay, maybe I chose a bit too stiff wires. Yeah, too stiff wires. But I'd rather go on the thicker wire side than the thinner option. So. Alright, let's try to simply, it's a simple press fit. Yeah. Okay, let's zoom out and oh, we are pretty zoomed out, but let's move this away and have a look. Right, so we have our connector here and some battery terminals. So why not start off by just simply trying to connect this cell. See if this connector still works. Yes. It was connectable. And we shall bring in the multimeter. Put it to volts. And I need some, well, I can use these probes, I suppose, these alligator clips. It won't stick, but are we getting a connection? No. Okay, maybe the connector didn't actually well, yeah, the pins are there. Okay, let's do a continuity check and stuff like that. And right, I found them. So let's put this to continuity. 0.7 ohm. And first of all, yeah, at least no continuity between the positive and negative. But we should have continuity between the black wire over here and yeah, this is easy. Yeah, so we have that, and let's try the positive. Yeah, okay, so we have continuity. Oh, maybe I had it in... No? Yeah, maybe I had the probes in the wrong positions. We measured milliamps previously. I don't remember, but oops, let's switch back to volts. And hang on, there's something rattling around here, or in there. Okay, I closed this up good and proper, didn't I? Oh yeah. So the culprit is over there. A little bit of solder. But the wires are still soldered on, so Maybe it just ended up in there. Okay, now let's try this again. Connecting the cell, feeling that it doesn't get warm or anything. Put this to volts. And oh yeah, 3.09 volts. So we did charge the cell a little bit in the sunshine, but by this much. Okay. So now then, let's put this aside and well, let's bring this in, I suppose. I need micro USB lead. Yeah, give me 1 second. Right, so I have now found a charger and a micro USB. I wish this was USB-C, but it isn't. You can find out more about this, as I said, in my review on the channel of the Nightcore UMS4 charger. Alright, let's focus a bit. I shall reset this. But maybe we don't have to reset. I think we have a time counter here. So we have the cell here, and the positive to the positive and the negative to the negative. Let's let's see if we can get a connection. Yeah, we do, but right now it's in 4.2 volt mode. First of all, current 300 is the minimum, and then we want to change to LiFePO 4 3.7 and confirm, and we are in constant current mode right now. 300 milliamps, LiFePO 4 mode, and we're counting milliamp hours here. .28 volts. So yeah, it seems to work. But before we charge it fully, I would like to discharge the cell first. So yeah, let's do that. And so to get a good accurate reading, sort of, so let's bring this in, and well, we can disconnect our special cable. Now that we know the charging current and stuff, we can place it over here and just connect this cell. Yeah, because we're pretty bright now. Once again, we did get some charge into it. And then we will reuse this lead at some point once this is fully charged, and we will measure the current, the discharge current, once the cell is fully charged. So yeah, let's allow this to discharge, and can turn the light off here, studio light, and yeah, so I'll basically discharge it until it's 2.5 volts or so, and then we'll do the charge up test and see actually how many milliamp hours we get into this in LiFePO4 mode, as I suppose this is a LiFePO4. It should be in an application like this where it sits outside. LiFePO4 shouldn't be as prone to explosions like some other chemistries of lithium cells. So yeah, I'll be back once we're ready to charge it from empty. Alright, so now as we can see, we barely have any light output from the cell once again. It's been sitting here for a couple of hours. So yeah, let's disconnect this or turn it off, disconnect the cell, which is sort of easier said than done, but this worked. I will remove this for now, and yeah, we can start off by measuring the voltage. So let's bring in our dummy AA cell, connect this to it, bring in this one, the voltmeter or multimeter actually, and set it to volts, and then have a quick check. Not getting a good connection, maybe. 2.488, so 2.49 volts. Alright, so let's assume that that is the cutoff voltage that we wish that this lantern would have had. Oops. And let's bring in the Nightcore UMS4 charger. Let's place the cell at rest here, and let's see if we can get a connection. Now we have a connection, but if we zoom in a little bit, it says 4.2 volt, so I want to change that. First of all, let's go down to lowest setting on this charger, which is 300 milliamps, and then we choose LiFePO4 3.7 volt and confirm. Constant current mode, 3.7 volts, and let's cycle through. 300 milliamps, 3.08 volts currently, and we'll get some internal resistance measurement, but we'll have our very interesting setup here, so maybe we can't rely on that to 100%. So basically, yeah, 3.14 volts. So the voltage is recovering pretty quickly at the moment. All right. My watt meter says that this charger is pulling, well, I have a USB charger as well, which has some losses, but currently 1.9 watts of power is being drawn from the outlet. 3.22 volts, 10 milliamp hours at the current moment. Yeah, let's leave it running like this for a while, and we shall check in on it. So now I have 2 bars actually here, so it's increasing pretty quickly. Alright, but let's see what happens. So yeah, let's leave it to it. I'm pretty surprised, or maybe I'm not, but so you see that it says full here and 3.7 volts. 66 milliamp hours, 15 minutes. Now, I'm not sure, but to me 66 milliamp hours is not a whole lot. The microphone remained. Now I have it on me. So, I don't know, is it just me, or is it a very bad cell? So let's disconnect and let's measure the voltage ourselves. But 66 sounds pretty low, even by sort of AliExpress standards. Um, 3.660. So not quite 3.7. But if you round it up, I suppose it is 3.7. So what do we make of this? Well, I wonder, because yeah, it's a very low capacity cell, and I mean, we saw that We saw that the solar panel charged the cell by what was it, 130 milliamps in sunny conditions. In that case, I mean, the charge time would be like half an hour to full. So maybe this isn't a LiFePO4. But how do I know? How do I find out? I don't want to rip this open either. Maybe. But okay, but I suppose let's put this back in. And let's go for 300 milliamps and 4.2 volts. So we had 66. But yeah, I wonder. So let's allow it to charge up to just above 3.7 volts, maybe 3.8, and then put this cell, connect it back to the lantern and a solar panel, and see if it continues to charge it or what. So the thing is, we're at 3.7 now, and we had 66. So let me just take note. So 2.5 to 3.7 volts, 66 milliamp hours. But I'm sort of starting to question the built-in 2200 milliamp hour high capacity battery. So I wonder. I will have to read the listing online a bit closer and see if it actually specifies the chemistry. Maybe I should ask the seller. But we could, of course, yeah. I mean, we could, of course, connect this to the solar panel and see what it does. But considering that it didn't cut off at 2.5 volts, if this is a LiFePO4, okay, fine. But if this is a standard lithium ion, it should have cut off at 2.9 volts. But it didn't, so it allowed it to discharge all the way down to below 2.5 volts. Which is interesting. And now we're at 3.73. .74 volts, 18 milliamp hours. I mean, it clearly is an 18650, but I wonder what kind of cell that actually is. So maybe it is a standard lithium ion cell, but in that case the problem would be that standard lithium ion cells can only be charged and discharged like, I don't know, 500 to 1200 times. So you don't get a very good lifespan in a device like a lantern that will be constantly discharging and charging it up. So that would be a poor choice, I think, on their behalf. In that case. So ideally it should have been a LiFePO4 cell to get a lot more cycles out of it, because LiFePO4 cells can last a lot longer than standard lithium cells. Yeah, I checked the listing and it didn't say anything else really. But as far as the round version of this, there's a round one. There it said that it had 1500 milliamp hour battery, but it didn't say anything else about it. I searched for another listing. It also didn't mention the battery capacity inside, but some reviewer on AliExpress said that yeah, after it got dark it was lit until about 2 AM, which is probably not too many hours. But at the same time, on that other listing it said 3.7 volts in some specification, not for battery but just 3.7 volts. In that case it should be, I suppose, well, it depends. 3.7 volts should be cut off for this one if it's a LiFePO4 cell, and if it's not, then 3.7 volts should be the nominal voltage for a standard lithium cell. So I wonder. But still, we're at 3.8 volts and we got 81 milliamp hours. So 81, let's write 3.7 to 3.8, about 82. Yeah, so we'll have 66 plus 82 in that case, which is still not a whole lot. I mean, 148 milliamp hours, maybe, which would equate about just above an hour of direct sunlight when charging through the solar panel here. So what can we say about this? Well, I wonder, yeah, let's we have noted this down, so let's disconnect this and this, like that. And bring in the cable isn't too long, and I want my special cable. So this one, where we can tap in on it. There we go. And we don't want any shorts, so let's try to avoid those. Connecting the cell. Now first of all, then, let's see what it actually does with it in terms of current flow. So yes, I'll have to move some stuff around. And then we'll place this in common and milliamp. And let's go for milliamps. And let's connect this one here and this one, sorry, almost did the wrong thing, this one there. Currently not seeing too much of a so let's try to use the flashlight. Yes, so we're getting some current flow. About 3.5 milliamps. So it does charge the cell. It does continue to charge it. So maybe I can not very fast, maybe. either. But yeah, this light didn't help much that I just turned on. Maybe I need some stronger light or something to trigger charging it. Yeah, 3.5 milliamps. It doesn't matter, I suppose, if I have it in the on position. Yeah. Okay. So it does allow for current flow, still at 3.8 volts. But maybe I need I have no sun currently available, so let me turn off the external lighting here, and maybe I can find a light that we can connect to the mains and sort of trigger it to charge via the solar panel. So hang on a moment, I shall look around a bit. Okay, so I have found a work light that looks like this, and it's rated at, let's see here, power, total power max 9 watts, 700 lumens, 400 Kelvin color temperature. It has a 2000 milliamp hour lithium ion built-in cell. If only the AliExpress items could be specified in the same way, would all be happier in our day-to-day lives. So let me place that like that, and I shall remove some stuff and place this light pretty close like this. Oh. And turn it on. Okay, I can't turn it more than that. Yeah, let's see, my hand is in the way. I saw 15. Okay, now we're getting 10.7 milliamps. And it keeps on charging. I see no cutoff, at least. Yeah. It's not very fast now with this light, of course, but still it keeps pumping some amps into the cell. All right. So the question is, what kind of cell is it? I actually don't know, because it didn't cut off at 2.9 volts, and neither did it cut it off at 2.5 volts. So it's allowing it to drain. And yeah, we're at 3.8 volts, but can I be sure that this will cut off at some upper bound? I'm not convinced, since it didn't cut off at the lower bound for any of the lithium cell types. Yeah, we can see that the current is decreasing. We were at 10.7, but I don't know if this light will start strobing when it heats up to reduce the light output and heat output. But yeah, there we are. I will try to do some yeah, now we're below 10 milliamps. Yeah. I will try to do some digging around, I suppose. I will maybe ask the seller if the seller knows what kind of lithium chemistry type it is, but I'm not very comfortable, charging that cell up to 4.2 volts if it isn't a LiFePO4 cell, and at the same time allowing this to charge it up. Of course the current is low, so in normal conditions, when we don't have it in a charger like the standard battery charger, it shouldn't reach too high of a voltage, I suppose. But at the same time, if this has a charge current in direct sunlight of about 130 milliamps, and we have a capacity of 66 or 150 milliamp hours up to 3.8 volts, that's about an hour's worth of an hour worth of charge. So that seems a bit weird. But maybe I can assemble this and allow it to sit in the sun for a while, and then we can check the voltage of the cell. So that's an option too. So yeah, let me just fiddle around a bit off camera and see what I can find. Well, I didn't find much sunlight the last days. It's been a bit rainy, let's say. But I found on Temu this listing, which is it looks to be pretty much the same kind of lantern. And yeah, so here I actually, let me just switch to, yeah, I found a manual on Temu, and it says solar panel 1 watt, 1 point something watt, 20% efficiency, the same as it said in the AliExpress listing. But here it says lithium ion battery 1200 milliamp hours. So the AliExpress listing said 2400. Maybe that was a bit optimistic. And here it says lithium ion. So maybe it is a lithium ion then. And also it says lithium ion battery span life 500. I suppose they mean cycles. And 500 cycles. Yeah, a lithium phosphate battery would have lasted longer, I think. And solar panel span life more than 5 years. Yeah, so I suppose let's assume it is a lithium ion and charge it up to 4.2 volts and see what happens. Okay, so we're charging this cell up again. Last time we stopped at 3.8 volts, and now we're continuing, and charge current of 300 milliamps, currently at 3.92 volts, and we have pushed in 228 milliamp hours in 46 minutes. And if we combine that with the 66 and 82 milliamp hours, we get, let's see here, 148 maybe. So let's say 150 plus 230, 380 milliamp hours so far. Yeah, so I really hope that this is, in that case, a standard lithium cell and not a lithium phosphate. Even though a lithium phosphate cell would be more appropriate, maybe, in this type of application, I think, like an outdoors application. But okay, considering that, yeah, if that other lantern on Temu was more correct in its listing with the 1200 milliamp hour battery, then in that case maybe we're getting there, and of course we could upgrade this cell to something else later. But I think that 1200 milliamp hours would be sufficient, because let's face it, if we had 130 milliamps of charge current in direct sunlight, it means that this would be charged in about 9 or 10 hours with some losses. Well, we actually measured the current going into the actual cell previously, but still, not all the energy that is fed into the cell will be stored, I suppose. Some will be given off as heat, even though lithium cells do not give off a lot of heat during charging, as compared to nickel metal hydrides or cells like that. So they are fairly efficient, but let's say 9 or 10 hours of charge time. So yeah, I suppose that, and that's in direct sunlight. Maybe you don't have 9 or 10 hours of direct sunlight, not only because of clouds and rain and stuff like that, but and also that it gets dark, but also as the Earth turns around its own axis, we get sun and sunshine and shade in different parts of the area of the Earth, so to speak. So unless you adjust the solar panel angle and position as the sun moves about in the sky, then as perceived by us, then you won't get a perfect 130 milliamps, I suppose, as in the constructed test that we did outside previously. So yeah, 3.93 volts, 246 milliamp hours currently, 50 minutes in. Cell is cool and nice, at least. Let's leave it to charge and see what happens. Because if we got 66 milliamp hours from 2.5 to 2.7 volts previously. Yes, 66 milliamp hours. That is too little even for an AliExpress cell, I think. of unknown B grade type, so to speak. So hopefully this is an actual lithium ion cell then, even though I'm a bit disappointed that the lantern did not cut off below 2.9 volts. In that case, it continued to discharge the cell down to below 2.5 volts, which isn't necessarily good for the cell. Right, but let's allow it to continue and we will see where we end up. Okay, so I had to stop the charging for a little while because I was leaving and I didn't want to leave this unattended. But I came back and continued charging, and I noted down some figures here. So when I had to leave, we went from 3.8 to 4.06 volts, and the charger said 555 milliamp hours. Now it says 4.2 volts and full. So let's check here. 350 milliamp hours. So I will note that down. So 4.20 volts. What was it? Oh. No, I lost it. Hang on a moment. Yes, 315 milliamp hours. So I must have moved the cell. So 315. But this should be fully charged. It has gone back to 4.14 volts, but that doesn't matter too much now. So let's do some maths. I shall bring my calculator. Okay. So 66, 82, 555, and 315. Yeah, 1018. So I would call this 1 amp hour. No, well, this one. I was off camera pointing with my pencil on this yellow dummy. But yeah, this cell, I would call it a 1 amp hour lithium ion cell. And I mean, yeah, I mean, it's close enough to 1.2 amp hours, but it's nowhere near 2200 for sure. But actually I did find a paper version of the manual itself as well. I must have misplaced it previously, but I do have it. Here it is. And well, it says pretty much the same things as we saw on my display screen, so my computer monitor. So yeah, it says lithium ion 1200. So yeah, someone added an amp hour over here, which is a shame. But on the same page, like I said before, on the same page on AliExpress, if you scroll down and in the description images, for the round version, this one, it actually said 1200, but it didn't mention the chemistry, while here they actually say lithium ion and 500 cycles. Yeah, so let's call it a 1 amp hour cell, and that would be 1000 milliamp hours divided by 130 milliamps, 7.7 hours in direct sunlight to charge the cell from flat to full. Yeah, so very interesting for sure. Now it would be interesting as well to actually find out how much current is drawn from the cell at full charge 4.2 volts to calculate some runtimes. They claim, let's see here, they don't claim anything actually. Well, except charging time 8 hours. That's pretty spot on. But no runtime. Okay. So fair enough. Let's do that next. Right. So as we can see here, it says full. So this cell, I have kept it at 4.2 volts, and it seems to be a standard lithium cell then, and it seems to be a 1 amp hour cell. So now that we have established that, let me remove some things to the side here, and yeah, let's disconnect the cell from the dummy cell. This is actually a pretty nice thing, I think. It's great for these types of applications where you want to charge the cell in a standard charger. Right. However, I have been waiting for a few days. So a few days have passed since we last charged the cell up, and I've been waiting for some time and for some sun. But here in Sweden, you know, they say that summer is the sunniest day of the year. So don't get your hopes up, basically. And well, I'm thinking let's bring in this again, because I'm pretty interested in seeing what actually happens when the cell is full at 4.2 volts. Does it cut off charging, or does it not? Because the open cell voltage we had here from the solar panel was about 5 or 6 volts or so. So when this is at 4.2, the question is, do we have some chip here that actually checks any of this? We have something here. What does it say? I can't really see, but yeah, so the question is, will this be overcharging the cell, or because it didn't cut off at the lower end, so I'm pretty worried that maybe it doesn't cut off at the high end either. Yeah, and for those purposes, we should connect this cable that we can tap in on with a multimeter, and trying to keep this going without shorting anything out. So let's turn the things the right way around. this end should go in there. But since I have no sun, I have to rely on lights, artificial lighting. We'll see how that goes, but right. Now, nothing is shorted, I hope. And let's connect the cell. There. And then we want, let's put the cell there. Okay, now we want put some stuff away, and I want to have the multimeter, and I also would like to have well, I want to measure the current, maybe. So to measure the current, where did I put the clamps that I made? So there is one. We'll put it to milliamps. And the second clamp cable, there we have that. Hook it up, and it should go there. So we have a flow of current through the ammeter. Now let's put this to milliamps, and without shorting this one, let's try to erase the solar cell a bit. Yes, so currently we don't see much happening. We used this light, and yeah, 6.8 milliamps, 7 milliamps of current. Okay, is going into the cell, so it does charge it. Seems. Now, however, I would like to see the voltage as well. So maybe I should use this one for that. For the positive lead, let's go with the standard included probe. And what I want to do is I want to take this, and this should be our negative, let's say, because it's connected to the common there, and then the other end here, if we can leave it like that maybe, and turn this to volts. Yes, 4.09 volts, and 1 milliamp it seems. This might be, of course, we could set this to microamps, of course. Yeah, 6.7 microamps, but I wonder, Since it's positive, I wonder if that's actually discharging the cell. Yeah, as I turn on the light, now it's actually charging it. And 4.19 volts, we jumped up immediately on the cell, and we have 1300 microamps that's charging the cell here. So that should be 1.3 milliamps. But as we can see, this little light that I have here it's pretty strong, but it's not strong enough. But if I move it closer to the solar cell here, let me yes, we're charging at 4750, let's call it 4.8 milliamps, and the voltage across the cell is 4.43 volts. So it does not cut off charging it. Let's go back to milliamps here. Yes, 5 milliamps. This is of course not a huge current, 5 milliamps. It's a bit of a trickle charge. Let's see here. Okay, so I get some other reading here when I switch to microamps here. I get 4.3 volts, and when I switch to milliamps here, I get 4.12 volts, which I believe this is more correct, perhaps. So so yeah, the question is, it doesn't seem to be cutting off. We're back to 4.09 volts as I turn the light off. We need a stronger light or something. But just considering that it didn't cut off at the lower end of the spectrum, it makes me a bit worried that it won't cut off at the upper part either. But for those of you who made it this far into this video, you should be, of course, rewarded. And I understand that it's a reward in itself to watch my hour-long videos, or several hour-long videos in some cases, but that was a joke. But yeah, the reward for this time is something looking like this. I was looking for some decent light source, and here you're getting a preview of very interesting light. Let's so I shall do some review on this, and yeah, you can see you can fasten it to a tripod or something, and we have a little thing here with USB-C and USB-A. We have a button here, showing perhaps the battery status. Yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about it now, at least. I haven't tested it yet myself too much. But you can see it's a pretty large piece of light. And it produces some light output. So, in different levels, and some strobing. So yeah, strobe warning for those of you who are sensitive. I should have maybe warned earlier. But good thoughts always come at a delay. Now I'm moving some things about here so that I can place this light. And yeah, let's watch the current and the voltage as I turn it on. .26 volts and 50 milliamps. So this is some light output. If I go closer, that doesn't help too much, actually, because I have a little dead spot. Yeah, there we have 50 milliamps and a voltage of 4.3. I'm currently holding the light, trying to hold it steady. So it keeps charging it, which is interesting, because we pass 4.2 volts and yeah, the battery is still being fed, but now we're dropping, so maybe the light output is fading a bit. Maybe it's some sort of heat control, or is it actually something to do with yeah, with some cutoff, but I mean, it's a decent solar cell, but the circuitry, I'm a bit perplexed here. Yeah, we're dropping in the charge current, but I don't know if that's the light output that's diminishing. The light is controlling for heat. But yeah, still about 20 milliamps current, 4.17, 4.18 volts, depending on how I direct the light. But yeah, no immediate cutoff as far as I can tell. Yeah, I suppose that the thing with this one is that they assume you won't overcharge the cell. However, if you have it in the off mode, it still charges it when there is light. A decent amount of light, at least. But in these conditions, we're pretty much at zero. But if we go to microamps, since now we have a positive sign here, so we're actually drawing 6.7 microamps. And if I block the light here. Yeah, this doesn't affect anything. So even in normal light conditions, without direct sunlight, we're actually draining the cell slowly. So 7 microamps. That's not much, of course. I mean, 10 hours would be 70 microamp hours. 100 hours, 700 microamp hours. That's 0.7 milliamp hours. So it's practically nothing. But if this doesn't cut off, neither at the lower end nor at the upper end, then and you have this set to the off state, then as the sun comes out, it charges the cell, and it might overcharge it because it will charge it, but the discharge during the night will only be 7 microamps. And on the other hand, if you have this outside in the winter, I suppose, when you don't have too much daylight or sunlight especially, then you might under discharge the cell instead, because, well, the solar panel doesn't get to charge the cell for long enough, and then if you have it in the on state, it will try to power the LEDs with no cutoff at the lower end. So that's a bit of a shame. I wouldn't, so as far as the review goes, I would say this is a pretty interesting thing. Because we have a price of about, what was it? It wasn't too expensive. It was something like $9 maybe equivalent, $10 equivalent, 12. I don't remember exactly what I said in the beginning of the video, maybe. But what I do like about this light, let's start with that. I do like that it is actually a pretty good deal for what you get, in terms of if you're sort of DIY and stuff like that. So let me just disconnect this lead like that. Yeah, so for those dollars, sort of you get a large solar cell, and it seems to put out, what did we measure? 130 milliamps in direct sunlight, which is pretty good, and 5 or 6 volts. So at 5 volts, that should be 0.65 watts, maybe. And we have a little bit of space in here, actually, and a holder for 18650. I suppose we could fit something larger in here. Maybe not an 186, maybe not a 21700, but if that's needed. I mean, this cell is only 1 amp hour, right? And unfortunately the listing said 2.2 amp hours, but as we saw in the manual itself, it's only 1200 milliamp hour rated. I measured it to 1 amp hour pretty much in my charging experiments. So what I mean, I like that you get a nice casing. You can, the circuit board here is it has connectors, so you can play around with it as far as to have or make some connectors. And you have an LED strip here, and you could of course use this part to something else, to light up something other than using it like this, of course. It does actually light pretty nicely with the flamey orange lights. Oh yeah, we didn't measure the current that it's using in the actual on state, but let's do that. But we can talk about some conclusions anyway. First, my biggest problem with this, as you have probably understood, is the lack of cutoffs in charging up at the upper and lower points of the voltage spectrum here for the cell. I mean, we went down to 2.5 volts, me thinking this was a LiFePO 4 cell, which it wasn't. And in that case we should have cut off at 2.9 volts, which it didn't. And also I didn't see any immediate cutoff at 4.2 volts either. Although of course we don't have enough light here to test. We could test it more extensively somehow, but yeah, I think the idea here behind this is that they probably saved in on some charging chip here, some pennies, because the idea being that basically this doesn't get enough sunlight in one day to fully charge this from empty, and during dusk to dawn you get to discharge the cell pretty much anyway. So but of course that's only if this is in the on mode. If it's in the off mode, it won't use up the energy by lighting up this LED strip, but it will charge the cell from the sun, so that worries me a bit. The other thing, what you could do is of course get a better cell, maybe with the JST XH connector on it already, or at least with some solder tabs, so you can attach a connector like this and then connect it. So if this would have been a 2200 milliamp hour cell, or a 3200 maybe, then this wouldn't have any issues, I suppose. It would take a pretty much several days to fully charge a 3200 milliamp hour 18650 cell. So you wouldn't have to worry about that too much unless you leave it in the off state. But I don't think you should in this device. And another option, of course, would be to get a protected 18650 cell and put it here. So we would leave the responsibility for cutting off at the low and high end to the cell itself. And since this didn't cut off at even under 2.5 volts, this doesn't seem to have any protective chip, which is a shame, of course. So buying a cell with the protective chip for over discharge and overcharge protection would probably be the easiest and safest thing to do, which I think I will do in this case in the longer run here, because it's a nice lantern, very serviceable and easy to take apart, 4 screws and some notches, and that's it, and you get a, I mean, it's very simplistic. But yes, before we do anything else, let's measure the current that is drawn when we have it in a fully charged mode, right? Because that is something we didn't have previously. And let me connect this back here. Like that, and we don't want this to short. So let's see here, connect the cell, and let's put this to milliamp range first, and we shall bring this in. Okay, so currently we can see that we put this to microamps. Okay, we have a little bit of a higher quiescent current this time around at 10 microamps. So now if I turn this on, put this to milliamps first, and turn this to the flaming mode, of course we get some kind of fluctuation here going on, because different LEDs are being lit and turned off constantly. So maybe we could yeah, maybe we could get some average, but it seems like the average is about 40 to 45 milliamps. But let's go into the constant on mode, which should be easier to apprehend here. 82.7, so let's call it 83 milliamps. This will of course go down as the voltage in the cell goes down, but why don't we do some maths? Let me bring my oh, I have my calculator right here actually. So and refocus a bit. 0.083, that should be 83 milliamps. Yeah, we had 1000 milliamp hours. We can divide it by 83 milliamps. That's 12 hours. So 12 hours of best case scenario runtime, I suppose, in the fully charged mode, and sorry, in the fully lit mode, if we, let's say we have 1000 milliamp hours in the cell divided by 45 milliamps current draw in the flame mode, that would give us almost a full day of 22.2 hours of runtime, which is good, of course. However, we should also take into account that the current draw should drop. So when this is half full in charge state, so to speak, when it's only half charged or half discharged, we should say, then maybe the current is down to 60 or 40 milliamps, and therefore we should extend this. So let's say that the average current will be, let's call it 60 over the entire spectrum of the voltage here. So we're falling already at 82.6. So let's call it 60, so 1000 divided by 60. Yeah, so we can expect 17 hours in that case, in the constant mode. And then the flickering mode, I suppose, instead of 45, maybe the average will fall down to 37 or something. So in that case we have 1000 divided by 37 milliamps, which would be 27 hours. And this feels correct when you consider that the reviews had for this product often mention that it has a good runtime. And I suppose as long as you don't keep it in the off state for too long in direct sunlight, you should be fine. But also don't keep it discharged for too long either, in complete darkness. Like discharge it and then bring it home and put it in a box somewhere when the cell is at 2.5 volts in that case. So yeah, but there we have it. So now we have tested that as well. Because even if you put it over the winter, if you bring it in, then we still have a current draw of okay, it's 10 microamps now. So I mean, 100 hours would be 1 milliamp hour. So it's not too bad. But if you're already at 2.5 volts or something when you bring this in over the winter, although I wouldn't do that because I think it will charge up a bit during winter as well. But if it doesn't, yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see. So yeah, we talked about a little bit about some positive things that I do like about this light, like the cost and what you get for it, the serviceability and the DIY ability of it, and all these things. But what I don't like, let me just disconnect this. Yeah, what I don't like I've said 100 times now, I don't like the lack of cell charge and discharge protection. I would have liked to see a larger cell in that case at least, so that it doesn't overcharge too easily. The specification was wrong in the listing, saying 2.2 amp hour cell. The manual was more correct at 1200, but we measured it to 1000 or so, but slightly over 1000 maybe. So I would say that's correct, pretty much at least. And it would have been nice to have like charge port somewhere with a rubber gasket or something. Since this one just hangs from a hook here, you can bring it in, open a rubber gasket, and plug in a USB-C or something, and charge it up for a little while. That would be nice. Then you can use it even during the winter. I bet this looks pretty great in the winter. I mean, so when it's dark and there isn't much sunlight. But for what it is, yeah, I mean, I hope I have given you some insights into this device, and that you can make some sort of purchasing decision, or just having a good time watching a video that is very long and probably not too funny to watch, but you know, that's what I do. I create content for those who have trouble falling asleep, I suppose. But those of you who did watch the entire video, you are of course my heroes, as that is nice to see. And yeah, let's screw this back together. There wasn't a rubber gasket in between here, but on the other hand, I don't think water will protrude from the underside of the unit either, so yeah. I also my current video creation cadence has been a bit lower lately, but rest assured, I have lots of ideas and stuff to look at. I had some initial thoughts of making another type of video, but then I realized that, yeah, I suppose there are countries where summer is not just one sunny day long, and like here in Sweden, but it seemed like a good idea to look at the solar powered stuff right now, at least for the northern hemisphere. I'm sorry if I exclude some countries and people living there, but it is what it is. Yeah, also pretty nice that you have some sort of thing here that you could put this onto a pole or something. So yeah, it's a nice little light. I like it. But I would change the cell to something with a protective circuit that would basically cut off at 2.9 volts and 4.2 volts, and then you can sleep in peace. Alright, thank you everyone so much for watching this pretty extensive video in length and depth. It has been fun to take this apart, doing the measurements and probing around. Luckily we didn't short anything out. And yeah. Mainly like the large solar panel and the easy DIY capabilities of this thing. And you can reuse its part for other stuff. Really good light, especially if you accept the 1000 milliamp hour cell and don't over discharge or charge it, or better still, buy a protected 18650 with a 2200 milliamp hour capacity maybe, or I mean, yeah, 1500, 1600 is probably more than enough as well, depending on where you live and how much sunlight you get and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely get a protective cell, protected cell, I should say, and preferably with the connectors, but so you don't have to spot weld yourself. They should be available on AliExpress as usual. So and yeah, it seemed to be a standard lithium cell, not a LiFePO4, which is a bit. I was expecting a LiFePO4 because that is. They're not so explosively reactive to stuff, especially like in an outdoor device. But it wasn't. I suppose not the end of the world, but right. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and look forward to upcoming videos. Yeah. Have a nice day. Bye bye.